Today's episode of the Cantina is brought to you by Grow Generation. Whether you're at the Death Star or the Senate, they have everything you need to grow right where you are. More from them later in the episode.
Welcome to a galaxy far, far away. Here at the Cantina Podcast, we provide top shelf service, including rumors, leaks, news, and reviews. Come in, order a Loman Ale, and remember, no droids allowed. Welcome back, everyone, to the Cantina. Thank you so much if you're joining us for the first time ever, and thank you for all those that are returning once again. You might notice things look a little different. I'm actually going to have to play with my crops, because if you guys will notice, there's still things you can see from Zoom popping up over on Cam and Mike's side. And speaking of Cam and Mike, or Shocky as he likes to be called around here, they're joining me for the second episode of the Book of Boba Fett here on the Cantina. Make sure you guys are following us at our social media down below. Subscribed to the Genreverse Podcast Network's YouTube channel, brand new. That's where every one of LRM's Genreverse podcast will be at, besides of course your favorite podcast app, so follow us there as well. And yeah, guys, how's it going? How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Book of Boba Fett, episode 1. You know it's funny. It had some mixed reviews. Like, a lot of people almost doing like they're gaslighting themselves again, like episode 1 style, where they're like, yeah, I like this and this, but man, that and that really didn't quite sit right with me. And I think I had some of those like same issues going in from episode 1, but episode 2 overall I found it to be a lot better. I guess Shocky, man, what do you think about episode 2, just kind of initially this go around?
Yeah, I think episode 2 kind of completes episode 1. I was talking to a friend of mine about it. It seemed like instead of doing episode 1 being like kind of the origin story of where Boba Fett had been, and kind of like getting out of the Sarlacc pit and doing a whole episode of him with the Tusken Raiders, and then episode 2 is, okay, now he's in, Jabba's palace taking over. It's like they cut those two stories, which that's a very Jon Favreau thing to do. If you've watched some of his older movies, he chunks things up stories wise, and kind of not necessarily like Tarantino, where the middle is the beginning is the end, and the end is the middle. But he wants to tell two stories at one time, and instead of giving you, here's story 1 and then here's story 2, he's going to take you on both at the same time, and do either flashbacks or the two stories, kind of coinciding with each other, and kind of go through that. So it seemed like the first 2 episodes kind of married together very well. So yeah, I definitely did enjoy it a lot more. It makes me appreciate episode 1 more now, because now it's kind of, it feels like more of a complete story than what we got from just last week, where it was we felt kind of lost. We didn't know exactly where the story was going to go, how things were going to play out. And then, yeah, we had some interesting characters show up this time around, for episode 2, and we'll get into those later on, I'm assuming. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed this episode.
Cool. Cam, what'd you think about this? We saw your written article. Sounds like it's very, very favorable.
Well, I suppose the headline was loved it. Of course, someone has already come in. Oops, sorry, just wrecked my camera there. Someone has already said in the comments, hated it. So, you're always going to get a yin for every gang, and that's fine. I do get why it's maybe not ticking the boxes for some people, but ye of little faith. I liked episode 1 better than you guys. And to me, this is where it was going. We just had to let it breathe and get there. And as you said, Shocky, it was just a continuation on really from that story. And now it just feels a little bit more complete. And once again, I have to say, the majority of the runtime was taken up by the backstory rather than the kind of present story. And I'm kind of so far liking that. I like the intrigue of what's going to come next in the current story, but I'm enjoying what they're doing with the Tuscans and Fett at the moment, and kind of explaining how he's changed a little bit as well. So yeah, so far, yeah, loved it. I loved it. That was great.
I definitely see all the Western love, like almost to the point where there was another very, very earthly thing in this episode, a straight up earth mouse. Like that irked me. Like you guys couldn't add like glowing green eyes to it, or some horn coming out of the back, something to I want to go to a galaxy far, far away. I don't want to be on Earth. Earth sucks. But I do dig the Tusken Raider stuff, but I'm also kind of now like, get on with it. But again, everything that they showed was good. It's just not necessarily what I expected, nor what I think I wanted. But I really, other than wanting Fett to be a bad guy, I didn't want much of anything from the show, specifically. I guess we could kind of go into some of the likes and dislikes, and start with the positive. The choreography for me was really great in all of this. The fight choreography was good. Even some of the I guess you'd call it tactical choreography, where they're making their battle plans and whatnot was good. I like of course the use of fear of the Rancor on the assassin at the beginning, because you do run into people that you're like, yeah, they're not talking, they're willing to die. Okay, are they willing to be tortured slowly? Like are they willing to be torn to shreds by a vicious beast? And a quick death is beneficial for certain situations, and so I like that. Familiar aliens, is that an actual Ithorian, or is that sister species? It looks Ithorian, right?
It looks like Ithorian to me, yeah.
Okay, because we've never seen them speak before or anything like that in live action. That's what I was going to say. And I know for some ungodly reason, toys, they created a sister species of Ithorians, which was completely unnecessary. But just like sister species of Twi'leks and whatnot. But I did enjoy seeing them. The Hutts was kind of cool. And I guess Cam, man, what were some of your favorite parts of this episode?
I mean, first of all, I loved that we got this. The twins were basically Hutts. It was cool to see Hutts back in the Star Wars universe again. Given the technologies never quite worked for Hutts and how they looked, it was probably the best looking Hutts we've had, kind of thing, because they were a bit rough in the prequels. They were a bit rough in Return of the Jedi, obviously, because it was just a big, massive puppet that couldn't be moved.
I almost would have preferred another puppet. Almost.
I mean,
almost.
It's just, I just don't think you can do it and make it look believable now in terms of the mouth, because it was so. I mean, we've probably all seen the BTS stuff in Return of the Jedi. It was just unbelievable how difficult it was to kind of just do that thing. But the technology's come on where it didn't just annoy me and I went and looked at it. It's still not perfect, don't get me wrong. It's still not like, wow, they've successfully got Hutts perfect now. I'm not quite there with the twins, but probably the best looking ones I've seen so far. Black Cranston showing up, which kind of connects in. I don't really know the character much other than what I've read online and stuff, but he was cool looking, looks like a badass, and I kind of want to see him fight some, which is kind of what the tease was about. So yeah, I liked everything from that point of view, and then just I'm loving getting to explore the Tuskens as an actual people with real motivations and problems and that they and their own culture, because they've never really been what's the word I'm looking for? Explored in that fashion so far in the Star Wars universe. It's always just been cut under the surface. Even in the EU, which did go into them a little bit, I never quite felt they almost knew where they wanted, because it was different people's voices.
They were hodgepodge. They had a lot of outsiders, humans, and other species. So yeah.
Whereas I kind of like, it just appeals to me, and I can kind of see why Fett doesn't really have to stay with him. You know, there's nothing really keeping him there. He kind of just wants to for some reason, and I don't think he even understands that himself. You know, there's nothing stopping him just running away and going back to his old life. So there's something kind of drawing him into that very simple life for whatever reason. And I think it's all going to go really, really badly at some point.
Yeah.
And that's what's ever seen him back into the world. So I'm kind of dreading that, but at the same time, that's drama. You know.
It's one of the things I dislike. But we're talking about likes right now. So Shocky, man, what were some of your favorite parts about this episode, or especially things you hope to see following through?
Yeah, I think the appearance of BK Black Krrsantan, you know, it just kind of opens up more of that, or of like, you know, bounty hunters and some other characters we've seen in comic books and, you know, in the EU that we want to see kind of come into live action. So I think for a lot of people watching it this, you know, last night / this morning, it was kind of like, is it, you know, they don't really confirm it right at the beginning, and then, you know, do a little research and you do find out that is, you know, what is it called? The bounty hunter from Dr. Afra that everyone is you know, a big fan of. So
and that's
it's kind of cool.
The first one, because we had various bounty. Sorry to jump in, Mike, but we had various bounty hunters kind of rumored as we went along. Some of them coming from us, but he was actually the first one that we'd heard rumored. There was, very early on, they were saying there was like a Wookiee bounty hunter, and people were guessing whether it was sort of BK. And then it's kind of cool that it was. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that it's opened up the door, and we're going to see more bounty hunters, you know, coming in, and because I mean that's ultimately what Boba Fett is, you know, as a bounty hunter. So
he says he's not.
He's still at heart a bounty hunter. Let's you know, that's the character there. And I think that, you know, we're going to see that come to fruition, come to life. The interesting, I don't know, the play is the kind of the Daimyo of effect. It's kind of taken that, forgive me on Japanese culture and history. It's the Shogun, right? That was, or the samurai.
So the Daimyo, if I'm not mistaken, would have been under the big guy. Then the Daimyos would kind of be like regional, if I'm not mistaken. Right. Samurai's much lower. Those are like your land owner.
That's what I thought. So the Daimyo
level, not that they are just.
It's not that in Japanese culture, the Daimyo wasn't the top dog, if I remember correct. So they're like, if Star Wars is adapting that type, then who is Boba Fett working for? In a sense, you know, because he keeps referring to himself as a daimyo, and so I was like, well,
he did say he would have to ask, or Fennec, said that they would have to ask permission if they wanted to kill the twins. So,
right, is there somebody above that Boba Fett's working for, and maybe this is where the back end story with the Tusken Raiders still isn't complete yet, and that's where, you know, we'll find out, and then. I'm waiting for Slave One to come back into fruition. You know, I want that ship. Yeah, fire spray, whatever you want to call it, Slave One. But I want that ship back. They keep teasing it every episode. Or
they do. The of course during the Meiji period, and I double checked during the Meiji period, there wasn't an emperor, and they were not always kind of emperor name. Only the Shogun, of course, held the majority of the power, and then under them was the Daimyo. So fun. What else?
So,
Anything else?
So Finnick would be kind of the samurai then.
Yeah.
Boba Fett's the daimyo.
She would be like a handpicked samurai.
So who's the Shogun?
Exactly.
That's where I think this show is leading to. Who's the, not necessarily the puppet master, but who is Fett working for?
So let me ask you guys this: What's Fett's motivation? Why has he become the daimyo? Why is he doing all this? We've seen where he went after the Sarlacc pit, so we're missing a whole chunky middle in the story. We know he then went, got his armor back, helped Mando, which you don't feel that the old Boba Fett would have done, but then he just goes back, kills Bib Fortuna, and he takes over. Where do you think the motivation is coming from?
Personally, I think it's all about this tribe of sand people he's hanging out with. I think Cam's right on the money. Something very, very bad's going to happen. It's going to be connected to the criminal underworld, and it's going to, that combined with some personal past things, Cad Bane, Bosk, whatnot, that you're going to like that's going to send Fett on this quest to make the criminal world a better criminal world, a kinder, gentler criminal world. And again, it all depends on how it lands. It could be great, but it's not necessarily the direction I want to see the character. I want bad Boba Fett. I'm fine with him being a criminal overlord that doesn't want a bunch of collateral damage, but I still want him to be a criminal overlord, and I'm just really worried we're not going to get enough of that. It might be, it might not be. Like I said, this episode was better, but it didn't really have much to do with the criminal overlording as much after the fake out with the Rancor. But that's kind of what I see happening, and his whole purpose is to kind of rein in the anarchy and bring the organization back to organized crime. And it could be good, but not necessarily the story I wanted. That's what I think is gonna happen.
Okay, that's kind of my thoughts as well, but maybe slightly more positive on it than you, in kind of terms of I still think we're going to see a badass Boba Fett. It's just that I don't think he's going to necessarily be kind of out there acting as a bounty hunter because he's got this new role, but there's still going to be plenty of people come after him, and I think it won't be as easy as he thinks to take all this. So I think there's a lot of story still left to be told, hopefully, on that, but we'll see.
Mike, what about you man? Where do you think what is his purpose? What is his mission for killing Fortuna and whatnot?
See, I think that there's a chunk of the story that we from end of Mando season 2 to where he comes into Jabba's palace, we still don't know. It's so we get the last bit of Boba helping Din Djarin and the crew save Baby Yoda, but then the next time we see him, he's on Tatooine, and taking over Jabba's palace. There's got to be something there that connects the dots, and it might be the Tusken Raider family, or it might be something else that the Crimson Dawn theories come out. I know that I forgot to talk about this in episode 1, but we get that really quick scene where we see the gang, rummaging through the moisture farm and then leaving that symbol on the outside of the hut there. And some people are theorizing that it's not Crimson Dawn, but what was it, Crimson Rain, which takes over, is the kind of the second coming of Crimson Dawn. And so maybe that little bit right there is where we see Boba, after leaving the Tuskens, joining this crime syndicate, which would make sense because he's anti Pikes, he's anti Hutts, he's anti Twi'leks. So maybe that avenue, but it's the way the story's going and so slow. I thought it would be a lot faster paced, and because I didn't, but it's looking like this is going to be definitely a multiple season, or at least 2 seasons of the Book of Boba Fett type deal to finish out the storyline here.
Yeah, I unless things just pick up super
super
fast.
fast.
I mean, the current timeline story, there's very little of it, but it's moving along just kind of quite steadfastly. I could see that just picking up pace as it goes along, and maybe even as the series progresses, getting less of the flashbacks and more of the current timeline stuff until there's just a few key moments we're missing. So, you know, from the backstory towards the end, that just fill in the last pieces as it all kind of comes together. But I mean, that's just a guess.
Yeah, kind of how I'm feeling. I figured you'd see the flashback stuff kind of slowly shrink over time, and the modern stuff becoming more, which I think kind of leads to like what Mike was saying, a season 2 at that point, right?
Yeah,
right.
I think there could be a season 2.
Yeah, more of that. Now we're not saying that we know anything, just
no.
You know, spitballing. Any other gripes from you guys before we take a quick break? No? Cool.
No.
Grow Generation peoples, start talking.
Grow Generation, where the pros go to grow. From propagation to harvest, they have everything you need for your special garden. Grow Generation serves customers across the nation and carries a wide inventory of renowned cultivation brands. Go to www.growgeneration.com, where the pros go to grow.
All right, Grow Generation. I'm sorry about that. I just noticed that for some reason the ad video played kind of out of sync. I'm not quite sure. It looked like it was cropped weird or something. I'm not sure, but I apologize, and yeah, I'll make sure that doesn't happen again. But thank you for sponsoring the episode. So kind of getting back to what Cam had mentioned, you know, thinking things aren't going to go over very, very well. No joke. On my notes, I wrote theory. If the female isn't Finnick, the Tusken Raider that we think is kind of female, looks like it, the one that's training him to fight and stuff. If it's not Finnick, which was an odd theory that I just threw out based on some EU BS, I said she dies to make Boba Fett the bestest bad guy ever, or the tribe leader dies. But Cam, is that kind of what you're thinking is going to happen?
Yeah,
some bandits come by, and
I think that as a female, I think we're going to see Fett get not necessarily romantically close, but respect, and I think she's going to get whacked by something. Somebody's going to betray them big time. He thinks he's done the right thing, and like that tribe's going, or that little kid one is just going to get wiped out at some point.
If not the whole tribe.
if not, just everyone's killed in front of him. I don't know, something like that, and it's just going to like almost not in that way tip him over the edge, go Punisher revenge style, but more. We need to stop this happening again, kind of thing, which I think is his goal. I think it's you can't get rid of crime in Tatooine. It's too far for many organs. It's the Outer Rim. It's controlled by the Hutts. So what you can try and do is make it a fairer system where kind of everybody gets the peace, rather than kind of everybody just comes in and tears the place up. I've got a funny theory that Crimson Dawn might be deliberately trying to destabilise things so that they can get in, and therefore Boba Fett trying to stabilise them might not work. But again, it could also be what you had said, Shoki, and they're actually working. There's more of a kind of connection there between them. So I think either could work. But yeah,
I don't know. Shoki, what do you see happening with this? It's not going to end well. It's a Western, right?
Right. It never. Yeah, and Westerns never end well. This is not going to be a happy story or a happy ending. I mean, yeah. So I mean, we're going to see at some point in time, you know, the hero or anti-hero Fett, you know, go through some sort of type of traumatic experience, which we're all assuming that it's going to be the Tusken Raiders being attacked. I think that the mistake he does, I think that's going to come back to haunt him, is letting the Pikes, you know, walk away from the train, you know, and I think that's, if we've known anything from watching the Clone Wars and you know, anything of the crime syndicates, you know, the Pikes basically don't let you just get away with stealing from them, and you know that spice is super expensive. And so that's not going to bode over well. And so I feel like the Pikes or some sort of type of group is going to come in, raid that group, that tribe of the Tusken Raiders, then that's where we're going to see Boba then, go on his search. And I think it's right around that time that we'll see Din Djarin, come back to Tatooine, because it's the timeline is jumping a lot if you think about it.
He's got to find Fennec first, though, doesn't he? Because he finds Fennec in Mando season 1.
Right.
And then there's a bit of time before we see him again.
Yeah, so I think next episode we might get to that point where in the flashback story where he finds Fennec, saves her, and then
she's maybe with them, and that's why they've got this kind of connection between them.
Yeah. Is it possible that his whole purpose for taking because there's 5 years between escaping the Sarlacc and Mando season 2, right? 5 years ish.
Right.
So is it possible that where we find him in Mando season 2, that it's that the event with the tribe may be relatively recent, and that it was the process of him going to get his armor back as part of the first step in revenge that we meet him on, and that way we'll see these two times come closer together a lot quicker. So maybe the whole purpose of taking control is to go after the bigger group responsible for the tribes. We're guessing slaughter. That makes kind of sense.
Prevent someone else from coming in and basically doing what they did and just killing them basically for sport. That's what it felt like. It almost didn't feel like they were stopping raiders. It just felt like they were, there's some Tuskens, let's shoot them.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like he's gonna his purpose and why he took the reins versus going on an individual thing. And it all kind of depends on how it lands. These are cool, fun stories. I'm not the world's biggest Western fan, and I'll kind of talk about that in the next segment. But it was better, and they used less of the green digital noise when we go into Dream World. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Dream World, there's a lot of Western things in here, which means they're borrowing heavily from some cultures that are used in American Westerns, which includes indigenous peoples, Native Americans, but also you're dealing with he's Pacific Islander, right? Timor Morrison?
Yeah, he's
okay.
Maori,
New Zealand.
Yeah, Maori, New Zealand. Yep.
Okay,
yeah, so
there you go. So you've got indigenous influences there as well, but as soon as like he comes into the tent, I just made a peace pipe joke with Christine. Yes, it's that stereotypical in westerns, Sue Hollywood, and sure enough, lizard caused Dream Quest for a fucking branch, which was interesting, but there's been a lot of things that were easily predictable. But did you guys kind of dig the whole Vision Quest thing, Cam?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. It was it was that unknown culture thing, and they've got their own. And what the hell are they doing with these lizards? And then you're probably just absolutely tripping out your box for 3 days in the desert, like you're like Jim Morrison, just talking to ghosts in the desert and shit. That's probably what you're doing. But if you can somehow make it back alive and pick up a bit of wood on the way, then son, you're a fucking Tusken. And it's like, it's Dances with Tuskens. This isn't it?
Very.
Yeah.
Let's just come out and say it. And I like Dances with Wolves, and I like Dances with
Banthas.
Dances with Banthas. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Kind of rhymes a bit better. Yeah. Dances with Banthas. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's like I said, there's one issue was predictability. That's been my biggest thing besides the earthly stuff. And there was another one besides the mouse. The train, I get it. I'm okay with it. I personally feel if I'm gonna move important goods on a planet where air travel exists, I'm gonna use air travel. But what I didn't like was all the traditional train knobs and turns and. Stop, guys. We get it. It's a fucking Western. We get it. It's meant to be a fucking train heist. Like I got that. Those knobs and shit, the twisting, the turning, and all of that is as dumb to me as the bombers in The Last Jedi, because it makes no in-canon sense. Every knob, button, every control you would want to do would be done from a computer terminal, even on a train, which the train didn't look like it was that rustic either.
No, I mean,
so
no.
It's a little thing. It's a little thing.
It is. I get it. And it's something I never even noticed. And when you mention it, I think back and go, yeah, he's right. But I like the episode too much to kind of care about it, because that whole sequence was just shit hot. I like that.
Yeah, it was cool.
So paying for it, and then they did it. And
this is
shocking.
So this is I'm reaching here in my Star Wars history, and this is. So when you mentioned the train and that kind of concept of it, when I saw it, it reminded me of Solo, because remember Solo, right. they're getting the heist on the train as well. And when you're doing with the Kessel spice, or when you're doing with spice, I forgot where I don't know if it's Wikipedia or somewhere. The reason why they use trains is because it's very volatile. Yeah, it can blow up, and so they don't like to have ships or basically
move
right around
where
right around where the mines are, because then it would cause this massive explosion. So that's what the trains are for, is to get the little bit you have. Yeah, I 100% understand the controls on that. That to me was just like an ode to an old Western. Like everything's Robert Rodriguez is definitely diving into that. When creating the story, and the what's the speeder bikes that they had. I mean, that's just straight up.
I don't know if they were swoops or
I think it looked like swoops or
modified thing. Yeah.
But I mean, that's straight up Western. Get on your horse. Ride up against.
I told Christine he went to go get some horses.
And even the training from jumping from speeder bike to speeder bike or swoop from swoop was old cowboy classic Western.
Like I said, I got it. Yeah. I love this scene. Just give the droid a damn control panel, and that whole scene sits 100% fine with me. But again, it was just because of the Boston Dynamics dogs, and then the mouse. It's like, oh my god, can I get off Earth?
Where was this mouse? I didn't notice it.
In the Rancor pit.
When the assassin freaks out.
You say that, and I go, oh yeah, no. As soon as you say it, I noticed it. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Honestly,
Cam's trying to stay in the galaxy far away, and I'm just ripped out of it.
I don't know. Yeah, I just, I didn't think twice about it. I was very busy today, and I was watching the episode on my phone, so I didn't kind of have it up on big screen. So maybe that's why I didn't kind of notice that detail. But it's just a mouse. But just for an even better to counter that, what about when the male twin grabs the little fluffy thing and uses it just to wipe the sweat off his face? That was class.
That was hilarious.
That was a proper sort of Star Wars myth.
I kept wait, is he going to eat it? Is he going to eat? Like, that would have been the ultimate gross out, to wipe your own sludge off and then eat it. Like, that's what I was wanting to happen.
You're quite fluffy. You'll be good for wiping sweat off. Thanks very much. I like that.
I will say this on a couple of just technical notes. The train scene, to know that's filmed in the volume, just shows how great having the volume. I mean, that's a volume shot, right? I mean, they had maybe 2 through 3 cars, maybe. Everything else, the seamlessness and the movement and the motion is just top notch. The technology is just It's insane. It's almost what makes the twins bug me a little. Like I said, I almost wanted puppets only because, man, there's so much great CGI and background work, and even some characters. They were a little. The sister, I think, was more rough than the brother. Do they have names? Are they from like Clone Wars or Rebels?
I'd never heard of them before.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So
they're in one of the comic book series.
Yeah. I've heard, I looked something up today and it just said
might be
the
Dr.
twins.
Aphra.
So I think they're known as the twins, possibly. I know that Black Stanton had worked for the twins. Do you know what I mean? At some point I'd said, so they must have been in something, but whether they were named, though, I mean, I could not tell you. Sorry.
Nah, that's all right. So kind of going forward, guys. What do you? I guess we'll go with Shocky first. We've mentioned Dr. Aphra now. I've heard the name Arden Lin mentioned a couple times before the show started as well. We've got our own little scoops that we've heard, as well as scoops from other reliable sources that we've either been able to back up or go, oh, holy shit. What kind of surprises do you think are coming up in episode 3? Shocky, what do you think we're going to get any character drops in 3?
If it follows the same format as Mando, then episode 4 will be kind of the make or break one, I think. But you never know. Listen, I want to see Bosk. I want to see Cad Bane. There's theories out there that we might get Quinlan Voss now. I don't see that. I don't see how you could fit that in the story so fast.
Every name from Solo has been dropped. Like Han himself has been dropped.
Yeah,
Lando's been dropped.
Voss,
Kira's been dropped.
Because the Han, there was a Han Solo rumor that came out today, and I know there's been some previously, and I'm going to be honest, I kind of just never paid them much attention. Thought, well, if it is, it is. But BSL, who we know does have some connections and has got some stuff right before had come out and said that they've heard Han. They didn't know which version of Han, why, when, but just that's what they had heard as well, that Han Solo would make an appearance. I kind of have to say,
I think it's just flashbacks.
I
think it's just like when he's in the back to tank, when Boba's in the back to tank, and we've seen the flashbacks with young Boba and Jango and Camino and stuff like that. I think it's going to be maybe just a quick flashback of the quick interaction that.
I wouldn't even count that.
Yeah, I think that.
What if
you use that?
What if it's a shot? Because I know everyone keeps talking about when Ford was caught with the aging stuff on, but even if they did that, like Shocky said they could easily just take, and it was a really bad shot. The boy's face almost was like a still shot, and the hand that moved, the face didn't move at all. It wasn't natural looking, but Dreamworld, whatever.
See, I don't think it's.
What if they just do that? They take something from episode 4, 5, or 6, and just superimpose it for.
I think that's what it is. I think we're getting. Just like where you saw the clip from when Jango's head was chopped off and you see young Boba holding it up, I think we get a quick scene of that, a vision of that. Because here's the reason why I don't think it's Ford. Number one, Harrison Ford has stated multiple times that he is done with Star Wars. Like that it would have to be an insane amount of money for him to come back, or it'd have to be the right storyline, and he's just basically done with it. Number two is that
he's not a cameo type person either.
He's also during the time of filming Book of Boba Fett, wasn't he also filming Indiana Jones?
Before he was hurt.
Before he was. So schedule wise,
they kind of did tail off slightly, so it is theoretically.
But with COVID,
possible,
with COVID now and the travel restrictions and
remember,
I don't
Ford
see
doesn't
him
stay in LA, does he? He stays in Montana, I think. Yeah. So I do have a hard time thinking that he turned up and filmed some stuff for it. I do, but.
I think possible, just not. It seems odd to me.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see the other Solo, and that's Ben Solo. Some sort form or version of Ben Solo. I think but it's going to be the end of Book of Boba Fett that we get that kind of because
is that maybe where the Grogu rumor comes from?
Maybe
that he's with Ben because of Luke and training or whatnot. But fuck, when was Ben?
I just figured maybe
born?
a flashback as well for Grogu.
Flashback,
you know, and something as you said, we don't the kind of.
Yeah, you see now some of the rumors we're starting to. It's kind of like that Flash and DC, you know, erasing the Snyder. You're like, well, wait a second. What about Aquaman and Wonder Woman 3 and the Batman and its spinoff? What about Shazam and Black Adam? I mean, they could get rid of Cavill and Batman. Dude, there's a lot going on here. And it kind of leads to my theory that Disney's been in a massive like counterintelligence campaign, like misinformation campaign, with a lot of stuff I think legit out there leaked, but enough random shit to confuse the fuck out of us.
I could legit see like some sort of like type of scene where Boba's on Tatooine, you know, and somehow, some way, Luke and Ben Solo come back to Tatooine, maybe to visit Ben's, you know, old.
Look, it's Boba Fett. I fucking
exactly. One of those things. Oh,
hi,
hey,
Boba Fett.
What are you doing here? I thought you died. You know, type deal. But yeah,
did I see you fall in that Sarlacc pit? It was a bad day, you know.
I'm all respectable now, though. It's all good. It was a learning experience.
I just I mean, maybe if you're swinging for the fences, you do some of that, but at the same time too, I just don't see. Yeah, all that. The bounty hunters, bring them all in. I think that's what Boba Fett's all about. But when you start talking about bringing Han Solo in, that really doesn't make any sense to me. You know,
it's also that thing. Like me and you and I have talked about this before, Kel, where you know. It's like making a thing out of Han Solo and Boba Fett when there really wasn't anything there.
No, there wasn't.
Just
right.
a contract.
You were just a job. Still one of my favorite lines.
He didn't, you know, I hate that Han Solo guy. You know, there's just no reason for him to do that. And likewise, you know, I can see Han.
That headcanon coming into people's minds.
I mean, it wasn't Boba Fett that put him in carbonite. Boba Fett just literally caught him
the job.
I found out where you were. I took the money. I told Vader where you were, and then I
transported
your frozen body to Jabba the Hutt for a little bit, and he was paying me about to bodyguard them at the time that you tried to break it. So you know, it means he just paid help. That's all he was.
Yeah, it wasn't the best story to some, but during the Vong invasion, it was just a great moment. It was a passing moment where Fett happened to be where some shit was going down, and Han's there. Fett's like saves his ass, and they're like, "What the fuck? Were we just saved by Fett?" And Fett calls out. He's like, "Dude, it was never anything personal. You were just a job."
Just a job.
And I loved that. And yet so many Star Wars fans I know today that weren't EU fans have built in this headcanon that there must be some grand backstory between Boba Fett and Han Solo and why he was so determined to be the one to catch him. Because he wanted to get paid. Fuck,
no, there's
guys.
more. And there's more backstory with Boba Fett and Cad Bane than anything else. I mean, that story is that to me is the Boba Fett story. Like bounty hunter versus bounty hunter. You know, the best of the best. You know? Oh, I mean, it's only a matter of time. But you don't put him in the Bad Batch, you know, and have a conflict with Finnick. Just for shits and giggles. I mean, come on now.
No,
it's been building up. So now you have interaction with Cad Bane and Boba Fett from the Clone Wars series, and then Cad Bane and Finnick in Bad Batch. It's leading up to this, you know.
Do you think Cad Bane survives this season, or do you think?
I mean, yeah, because he's a moneymaker. You know, the Star Wars. Listen, the Star Wars way is that if you're a moneymaker, you stay alive. If you're not a moneymaker, you die. So, you know.
Don't always agree with that, but you're probably right. about that as
To a
well.
degree, yeah, absolutely. I think he would stick around as well. It doesn't seem like a character you bring in just for a one and done.
I would like, well, he's been around for a long time. It's just his first live action debut, and it might be great to bring him in to show his end. Because remember,
it's going to be a quick draw. It's a Western.
The end to his arc is really to get killed off Boba Fett for me. I don't really see anywhere else where you could see an end to Cad Bane's arc that would work better than that. So, I don't want to see him just turn up infinitely forevermore with different voice actors as they change it. No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess you guys got anything else left to say on Book of Boba Fett episode 2?
New?
No. Shocky,
Mate?
is there any
Sure.
news or anything you wanted to chit chat about in the Star Wars universe going on right now?
Just that there's supposedly a couple projects that. So Ahsoka's starting up. I know that they're starting to get the ball rolling for that because Mando season 3 wraps up in March. So Ahsoka will start filming shortly after that. And they're starting, to put everything together, line that up. But there's a couple other projects that are in development. Nothing too spectacular right now to talk about. But there's a heavy emphasis to push more Star Wars content out there. So it seems like we are, going to see a lot more, and not just the Kyle will be happy about this, not the the Skywalker saga era. We're going to expand a lot more. I think that it's finally the executives and the higher ups are finally ready to go and swing for other eras of Star Wars and the High Republic and some of the future stuff. I think the biggest rumor out there, the Rian Johnson trilogy, is post episode what are we at now? So there's 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so 10 some people are calling it 10, 11, 12, but it does not connect to the Skywalker saga.
So
but it's
that's what they should have done with,
we're still hearing,
with 7, 8, 9. That's what they should have done with 7, 8, 9. Have it, be effectively that.
Because there's plenty of projects
to that story.
Yeah, there's a lot of projects going High Republic area or pre-Skywalker saga. Now they're starting to look at, okay, let's see what can we do post Skywalker saga and not connected to the Skywalker era.
Bloodline. So we're still hearing Johnson's trilogy still going on.
Everything I hear, so I know
we've never heard any different, have we?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's more or less just when Rian Johnson gets done with Knives Out and wants to start working on Star Wars. It's because I know that there's a lot of hate against him, and I know that the fan base is very divided against him. But he and Kennedy or what's her first name?
Kathleen.
There, he and Kathleen are almost like best buds. So.
I said that they're a package deal, and she wants him to do more Star Wars, no matter what. That's the feeling I get from her about it. But we'll see. I've often said, sure, send them away 500 years, 1,000 years in the past or future, and let them have that. Let them have at it.
Yeah,
I think he's going to bring back Andrew Garfield too. His version of Spider-Man, and bring him into the Star Wars universe.
Bring him in through the multiverse.
Why
exactly.
not? Why not? They've got Boston Dynamics robots.
That's how they get in. That's how they get in. He brings them in with him. He's the post-credit scene in Book of Boba Fett. You just see him turning up with Boston.
He never went back to his real universe. He's like, holy shit, where am I at, guys?
Where am I
That's
now?
awful.
Shit.
That's
awful. Fires his webs up into there, and he's in Tatooine, so there's just nothing there. And he's like, shit.
That's bad. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this episode episode of the Cantina, technically the Cantina Reviews, as we're doing the Book of Boba Fett. Check out our website, lrmonline.com, genreverse.com as well, every day for all your entertainment news, needs, and opinions, all these great articles, stuff going on. Oh, Cam's got something he wants to say. What's up, Cam?
I just wanted to say, I've got a written grade for it, but you two didn't actually give a grade for this. And some of our listeners might get annoyed.
Yeah, I forgot.
So
no,
just a
good call.
Grade.
Yeah.
I gave it an A in my review, and I'm sticking with that, but just...
Okay. Mike, what do you got?
I agree with Cam. I give it this one an A. And it makes me go back and change. I wouldn't say that like drastically change episode 1. I think I gave it like a B-. I would say maybe now a B+. Now that like I see the kind of more complete story from it.
Yeah, definitely more cohesive. It's an A- episode for me. Mostly, like I said, I'm dinging it for some things that just took me out of a galaxy far away. And even though, and here's the cool thing, guys, look, here's someone who's actively saying this isn't necessarily the story I thought I would get or necessarily wanted, but I could still see that it's good, and I can say good things about it. So, you know, out there, ladies and gentlemen, like this is called objectivity in a subjective medium. So just, you know, food for thought that it is possible. The websites, all the great stuff, you know, interviews, written articles, reviews, all that goes up here. All the podcasts are available there. The Genreverse Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcasts from. Great shows like Breaking Geek Radio, Daily Cup of Genre, Dragon Reviewed, Wrapped. We're done with that for the season, doing Wheel of Time, Anime Versal Reviews. A lot of really good stuff going on, and of course the brand new Genreverse Podcast Network channel on YouTube. Hit that red subscribe button. You can't see it here because this is like I'm logged in. You can see our fun video. Like, I can hit this manage button. Anyways, you guys know what YouTube does. All the cool stuff goes on there. I put a bunch of back catalog for you guys, but don't forget to also check out LRM's other YouTube channel, LRM YouTube channel, for a lot of great celebrity interviews, Zoom, in person, red carpet. It's awesome. Shocky, anything else you want to say? Plug?
No, yeah, just keep, you know, subscribing to the channels, keep checking out the website, and we're trying. Did you mention Cobra Kai as well? You guys are doing.
Oh yeah, right? No Mercy. That will be going up today, if not last night, as you guys will be watching this. Kind of depends on if I want to actually do the editing after I record this. But I will say though, it'll be up by Thursday.
So I'm almost appreciative now of Disney Plus is like, you know, once a week type deal, because I legit binge watch Cobra. I couldn't stop watching it, and so
good.
Yeah, it was really good.
3 episodes so far.
Oh my god, I watched the entire season within like a day, and so I just had, like, when I couldn't watch it on my TV, I put it on my phone, and I got my AirPods in, I'm listening to it, I'm watching it and stuff, and now I'm like, all right, what do I do now? So at first I hated I hated the Disney Plus way of doing things, of, you know, once a week, but I think for my sanity, I think I actually prefer it now, and I'm hoping
good for content creators like us who want to like discuss each episode, for example. So like we could do the Dragon Review every episode, but Cobra Kai, I think I got like 3 hours of sleep
that night
because it's binge, like, you know.
Because I kept watching, and all of a sudden I realized, I was like, oh my god, it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
I think Stranger Things might be the first time Netflix tries a weekly thing. I have a feeling. Well, if they were going to. There's a recent report come out that says basically the war is won weekly does better. It's more successful. It's talked about it more. So basically, you know, unless Netflix wants to change and keep pushing the other way, maybe it'll be a cool thing that you know, I subscribe to Netflix because I prefer binge watching. Great, you know, but in terms of creating a show and putting it out there and getting it into the public consciousness, it's like the season 2 The Witcher comes on, everybody talks about it for like that weekend, a week, and then silence. It's gone till the next season, and we're waiting for how long, a year. Yeah. Anyways, guys, we've waited long enough to send everyone away. Cam, did you have anything else you wanted to plug?
I think we've plugged enough.
All right, thank you guys so much for watching. May the force be with you.